I think we improved a lot in our series against FlyQuest. After game 1, we just played better. After game 2, we played better as a team. After game 3, it was the same. So I think we got a lot of learning to play together and feel better to play together. And I think I want to create a momentum to be a stronger team for the next rounds. I think we are getting there.
Certainly gonna need it, Hans, as Liquid are on the precipice of reverse sweeping 100 Thieves.
And seeing the chat right before games, Hans was ready. He typed R, which is the signal for ready, like 8 times. He's just like, ready, let's get into this.
In all series long, people have kind of been spamming in chat, but this was the first time where both teams were on stage before we were even back from break. True. Both teams are hungry to get into this 5th game.
And no banter this time as well. Like a lot of times there's that little bit of trash talk going back and forth. Just the R's, they mean business.
All right, we'll see what happens here in our final draft. As we heard from the desk, Game 5 drafts can often get pretty spicy, but so far pretty standard. Trundle, Draven, Vi. Actually, the 3 bans there for 100 Thieves, who did choose blue side for this game. And then Wukong, Kalista with 1 more to go. Team Liquid will eject Sivir.
Interesting to get rid of the Sivir as well. The Vi ban felt like 100 Thieves don't have a good answer for it. Like, it away.
I love it. Seraphine is 2-0 in this series so far. This isn't necessarily playing to comfort, but it is a quick adaptation to what's been winning in this series. Who has the better mid-game death ball? That was definitely Team Liquid in Game 4. When you have Seraphine, you almost win that by default.
That's what I was going to say, is both teams have Seraphine drafts, the Seraphine Senna or the Seraphine Swain. And so it feels like it's enabling these drafts that we were talking about. It feels like mid-game team fights are the most important. This is a bit of a specific answer out of Hans Sama. He's played a fair amount of this Miss Fortune.
Yeah, and you can do a multitude of builds. We've actually seen Danny play a Leandri's Miss Fortune. You need to see the angle though. This one, against the Seraphine, I think you really do need a large amount of burst. But I imagine this is for them trying to get bot prio. It definitely feels like the team that's been able to push bot lane has been the team that wins these games.
And we're so caught up in all the new bans, we forgot to see the ones that were dropped. Azir, first time in this series, I think, off the ban table, snatched away by Team Liquid.
See what 100 Thieves want to respond with here. Arbor could, of course, go to Ahri. He's looked pretty good in it most of the series. Decent matchup into Azir. Obviously, can pair up with Closer.
Wukong is good here with Seraphine. They've won with it before.
There's the Senna we expected, though. That's the first take. Sylas.
Okay, just matching the mid lane. This is something Abba wants to do. I mean, it's the same pieces of what you want to do with Seraphine Senna. It's just have those 2 ranged bot laners and then have 3 melees in the top side that can go in. They're easy to hit with the Seraphine heals and they're easy to group up, or sorry, they're easy to hit with the Senna heals and easy to group up with Seraphine.
Also, only the Vi and Wukong banned out for Jungler's Trundle as well, actually. So I guess they're more comfortable being pushed down that list than losing out on the Sylas. Viego, someone tweeted me about the Viego right before this game. Someone out there on Twitter has a very big brain about the Viego getting picked up, but taken away from Closer, most notably. It's actually Santorin piloting it.
Yeah, you can imagine the Team Liquid is going to target jungle bans now, however, with 100 Thieves opting to match the mid lane rather than pick a jungler early. So that Wukong we talked about, I'd be very surprised if they let it through.
All right, couple seconds ticking down. Team Liquid take out J4 again. Is going to continue to pinch the pull from Closer.
I think it's also worth noting because Closer had a rough game last time through. Front row crowd, living life. They also got another bucket out there. I think it's the new tradition, apparently, in North America LCS.
The LCS meta for swag. Now everyone's going to be asking for buckets!
It's unfair for people in the back row. You can't throw a bucket into the crowd, unfortunately. But back onto the game, jungle bans feel very relevant given that Closer had maybe one of his worst games I've ever seen in playoffs out of him. And to bounce back now in Game 5 while getting your champions banned is a huge ask.
Huge though, Xin and Jarvan are the bans, so I would expect it to be Wukong. There was deep conversation still between Reaper and Closer right now. He's completely focused on the top side of the map. Ssumday, as well as Closer, trying to figure out what's good. Oh, Wukong was banned.
I thought that too. I was like, it's so good here. Why aren't they picking you? And then, I realized the same thing as Jatt's going to get banned away from Bwipo.
It's that Game 5. Sometimes you just miss something crucial.
I mean, famously, Koma did not realize a Nidalee ban one time and had to first pick it for the first time for Bengi ever. So things can, you lose track of them. Maybe the Azir is that situation where it had been permanently banned out. No one has been allowed to touch it.
I'm going to have a lot of tweets about Wukong. Be like, Jatt, Wukong is banned now. I said it like 7 times. I apologize. So,
twice.
CoreJJ on an engaged champion. absolutely crucial for Team Liquid's success in games 3 and 4 if they get it again.
And gives them a bit of a kill threat in the bot lane. You have very easy setup at 6 with the ult from Leona dropped on top with the MF ultimate. A very strong kind of wall setup.
Of course it is.
The closer, Lee Sin. Double-digit deaths on Vi in game 4 takes one of the most punishing junglers. You're a champion who can very easily make the biggest plays to win the game, but also get CC'd up when you go in there. And he's not shying away from it.
It is a game 5 comfort pick though. We know game 5 is when people reach back for those champions of comfort. A new matchup with the Renekton into Aatrox in the last game as well. All of the healing and the 3 melee champions for 100 Thieves, they have put it together. Team Liquid, on paper, look a lot more traditional, right? AD carry mage, bruiser topside. Can't wait for this one.
So much pressure on the 100 Thieves melee side to find these kinds of engages, ways to get on top of them, because otherwise you're dealing with zone control from Azir, MF make it rain. I can just feel it already. It's going to be coming down to these dragon fights.
Now this energy in the studio has been there, I feel, since game 3. Lots of Let's Go Liquid chants. At a time I thought it was just game 5 fans. Now that we're in game 5 though, who has the support?
I don't know. We got 100 Thieves
I don't know
fans.
who does.
100 Thieves fans are quieter than the Team Liquid fans, it feels like.
They watched the last 2 games. It's rough out there.
So quickly running down the history of these two teams once again. In spring, 100 Thieves reverse swept Team Liquid. Here in summer, Team Liquid is 2 of the 3 games towards the reverse sweep 100 Thieves to secure those spot awards.
Every time these teams play, it feels like it goes to 5 as well. Of those 4 best of 5s they played recently, 3 of them, now this one as well, going to the 5th game. Feels like anytime we get this matchup, it's an absolute banger.
It's the greatest rivalry in the modern age of the LCS, and it all comes down to this one more time: 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid!
Welcome to Summer's Rift.
Okay, so first Lee Sin from closer, and a 5-man invade by 100 Thieves if we saw Brawl.
Oh, Death Brush though.
Abba could think about it.
Both teams had the same idea, charge into river, meet on that raptor ramp, chicken ramp. Not gonna end up going over though. A little disappointing. Wanted the 5v5, game over, flip it level 1.
Can you
Same.
imagine? Yeah,
Get this
5-man ace.
You have this insane series and it's like, oh yeah, over less than a minute into the 5th game. In hindsight, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Game 5s are often very, very tense because they've bounced back and forth with power picks the whole series. The game that 100 Thieves had Senna Seraphine, they did fall behind 2,000 or 3,000 gold in the early game, but then just won team fights over and over again. They also had this game in the regular season. Aatrox, Senna, Seraphine has been an unbeaten trio for 100 Thieves when they've played it against Team Liquid.
And Ssumday himself has been so good this series. He struggled a little bit more in the Ornn game, but his Aatrox game before that was absolutely incredible, despite falling a little bit behind early on with some of the laning advantages that Bwipo and company threw at him. Still found a way to be so impactful in team fights.
Yeah, so much to look for here. Obviously, FBI Senna, Stella, although different in this context, alongside huhi Seraphine. And Azir, big threat on the Team Liquid side. This will be a career Azir game for Bjergsen if Team Liquid can finish off this final game.
And I feel like a lot of these games have had like 1 or 2 points on the map as CoreJJ goes in for a little bit of trading. I was about to say, this time feels like all 3 lanes will benefit from jungle attention. You have a very bruiser-heavy top side where you can set things up. Mid lane, Sylas would love to be able to get some early action onto the Azir, as you see him going in perfectly timed. And then bot lane has the Leona setup, so all 3 lanes can benefit from jungler attention.
Yeah, especially with 100 Thieves trying to push up so much with this double range team. If Santorin can find an angle when closer is not there, it's very beneficial. But if you do get the 3v3, oftentimes that then favors the double range team. So timing and tracking each other is of utmost importance.
As we can see, Santorin currently finishing off that blue buff. So pathing away from this bottom lane, you have to assume.
Closer thinking about going here. Santorin needs to cover as well. Both junglers on a collision course.
Big push here as well in the 2v2. FBI so aggressive on the center, just constantly trying to harass, especially again, CoreJJ's Leona, a much softer target to continually hit and at least farm souls off of. Although you do have to be careful because CoreJJ certainly knows how to find an engage angle.
Finally, junglers getting the respect they deserve with the split screen version. Going off mid lane for that invade. Spotted out on the ramp with a ward, but that was also Closer getting vision of Santorin doing blue buff. Now gonna potentially head back to do his red buff or stick around for Scuttle Trap first.
Over we go. Santorin will take that crab. Should be A-okay. Again, kind of covering the Bwipo side, which makes sense. That's all he's pushing in most for Team Liquid, whereas Team Liquid in the bottom lane 2v2, you know that they're kind of just at the mercy of this early pushing double range bottom lane that 100 Thieves do have.
Something else I love about these Game 5s as well is just a culmination of what this team has gone through all split long. And for 100 Thieves in particular, they had that very slow start, right? And we've heard the quiet confidence from them time and time again. When people doubt them, they think that they have this switch they can pull off in playoffs. Like they can just be clutch. This is absolutely the time to prove that, right? They were up 2-0 in the series, and then maybe they got a little confident. Mostly, I think Team Liquid made some strong adaptations, but if you want to clutch out in Game 5, you have to be able to do it here. FBI taking a big trade. CoreJJ igniting him.
Cleanse that for FBI, gonna be A-okay. Core should be more than fine here. Don't have the damage.
I think you're happy to get that cleanse out though, as you're getting a little bit higher up in these levels, maybe find some gank setup. And just like you were talking about, Jatt, that's 100 Thieves story. For Team Liquid, they were, you know, the team that was prophesied to be this incredible super team that had never quite come together, and slowly over time, online, a fair amount of fans started to turn against that.
Yeah.
To the point where you can see in post-game threads, as here we go!
FBI in trouble, flashes there, but he can't cleanse out! First blood behind Summer!
CoreJJ with the killer instinct. Multiple flashes burned to take down FBI and get first blood.
Just after forcing out the cleanse, we said he might look for it, goes and lands
Play.
that Zenith Blade, sets up that kill. And he himself having a lot more haters this split. You heard huhi himself saying, oh, earlier today, maybe he's a top 5 support in the LCS these days. CoreJJ, very happy to try and prove him wrong now in Game 5.
TP back in. Bjergsen gonna go ahead and just take the tempo, as Alba has also used it. As watch this one again. Like you said, no cleanse, not a lot of hope here when CoreJJ's on form.
Yeah, 100 Thieves really wanted to get this wave in so that FBI could take a reset. You can see using the empowered Q, and that means who he can go in, because Seraphine has no spells, and they've already burned the cleanse, so they will definitely win that engage. Beautiful timing by CoreJJ.
And I love the aggressiveness in a Game 5. Did Hansama just walk up there and wait to get in range, hopefully, and give the time for the play to evolve? No, he flashes right in, get that kill when you can, secure these kills in Game 5. Make sure you get that gold because you don't want to let a kill slip away.
Look at these records, 20-8 on Lee Sin, 12-4 on Viego, 29-15 on Azir. All of them heavily winning records, which speaks to the success of these players and teams. Hansama did burn that flash, though.
Hunt's in trouble, Closer with the damage, but there's no follow-up. And now Closer maybe in a spot of bother as Core could look again, but Team Liquid will happily take that trade.
Go ahead.
Closer needing to have a big game here. He had that 10 death buy game, definitely trying to make something happen in that bottom lane, which has already suffered the death. And early dragons have been so incredibly important, so trying to force out enough of a health trade so he can solo dragon, unable to do so, and Hextech will keep on the rift.
Still feels like one of those games where it's going to come down to the 5v5s at Dragon and Heralds. Not enough of an advantage, despite FBI and huhi having the shove for the most part, you know, having high 4% this game from the double range advantage. You know, it's not like an actual pressure point that they necessarily want to play around too much. Now without the flash available on Ons and CoreJJ though, that's a fair amount of the playmaking down for them, so they feel very comfortable pushing all the way up in that lane.
FBI again, this time in the slow field, does juke the incoming Zenith Blade, but a little low on mana here. Gotta be careful.
And Hans probably forced back to base so low, under, you know, 200 HP. That means they're going to be able to get some more damage down on this turret. Try and get that gold lead back in their favor, because after that first blood, it was almost all the way up to 1,000 for Team Liquid.
They're playing very aggressively in that bottom lane. I feel like if that Zenith Blade landed from CoreJJ, that's probably another kill. No cleanse, no flash on FBI, but they sidestep it because they're up in that spot. They push Hans back to base, and they find their way back in this game. So already some pretty big risks being taken to keep this game competitive.
And it has been nice to see FBI and huhi really like going up again and pushing Team Liquid in the 2v2, right? Lots of discussion about who is the best bottom lane in the LCS. Obviously, Hans a huge acquisition for any team here coming onto Team Liquid, but FBI and huhi, especially in recent weeks, they're again trying to make their case as one of the best, if not the best bottom lanes in the LCS. As Bwipo gets a stun onto Ssumday, Santorin here as well, but everyone's going to back away.
Trying to set up for this Rift Herald that's about to start. You already see it. Oh!
Mini stun. Oh, ulti for the slow. They're really committing. Bwipo can't get in range, or at least doesn't want to commit more.
Yeah, they're just trying to chunk him out because they know he has no TP and they know that people are moving up. But Closer is starting it because their bottom lane was really far ahead of TL. And TL has actually called off the contest here. Look at Hansama moving back towards the bottom lane already. So Herald will go over to 100 Thieves.
6-4 huhi, I think, is the critical thing. He was a little bit ahead of CoreJJ there, so maybe not feeling like they wanted to take that fight at 5 against the Seraphine ult.
No Zillion this time to pop CoreJJ level 6 before a Rift Herald fight.
Yeah, no XP hacks this time around, unfortunately, for Team Liquid. They give that one over. Now I'm just curious to see where Closer wants to use it. They're moving down to contest the Dragon.
They're really just going straight Herald to Dragon. So they haven't farmed a bot lane creep in about a minute, but with Bwipo taking a recall and running back top lane, they don't actually know where Ssumday is right now, so they might just get this Drake uncontested as well.
And we know where Ssumday is. Going through mid lane, making sure he can support the team if he's needed, but he's not going to. There's huhi now going to get engaged on ulti out of MF. Big damage. huhi goes down. But Santorin's here as well. Abbedagge is still fighting, but he gets low as Closer. Manages to get one, but Bjergsen sweeps on in to get one back as well. FBI now running away alongside Closer. Pops the shroud and should be fine, but FBI may be caught up now. Doesn't have flash, does have cleanse, but will walk away.
2 for 1 for Team Liquid. They give up the Dragon, but they have a very nice brush camp to get huhi as he went for those creeps, as Jatt was just saying.
Yeah.
Not even able to get his ultimate off there for huhi. So if they did not get this 100-0 onto him, this could have been very dicey because 100 Thieves was slightly more grouped up than Team Liquid at the start of it, but Bjergsen is able to eventually collapse after they get this initial 100-0 onto him.
Nice engage by CoreJJ, and also, I think, really illegal by huhi to try and move there. No, I can't emphasize enough how infrequently a team will take Herald and immediately run down to Drake without ever resetting a wave. So CoreJJ had so long to get in position for that engage. 100 Thieves absolutely either needed to stay more grouped or take the long way around to get back to bot lane safely, and it is appropriately punished by Team Liquid.
Absolutely the case. I love what Hansama is doing with his build as well, grabbing the Eclipse, going for the pen build lethality, knowing that a lot of this team fight is going to be about following up on this engage with his ultimate over the top and blowing somebody up at the start. Already kind of indexing into that game plan and very far ahead of the pace of the game right now with the fact he got to stay bot lane that whole time and get these kills.
And also getting back to what we talked about at the start of the series between these two teams. Generally speaking in Summer Split, Team Liquid has had the stronger early game, but have lacked coordination to close consistently. 100 Thieves has been the team that is more coordinated and better in late game teamfights, but does not blow teams apart in the early game. This game is going exactly to expectations so far.
It's a perfect microcosm for the Summer Split for both these teams, and one of them is going to have to break. Team Liquid will either run away with this early game, smash it up.
We saw it already. You need to get a pretty significant lead. Your 1,000 gold is nice, but not enough. You need to be pushing 3, 4, 5K for Team Liquid to really punish the kind of frustrating Senna Seraphine the 100 Thieves play almost to perfection.
Yeah, Team Liquid was even up 5,000 gold against Senna Seraphine Aatrox in the regular season, still lost that game. They really wanted that one back. They felt like they were in a winning position. Already this series, they had a 3,500 gold lead. Were unable to close that game. That first Drake, I think, very important to make the timer of this game longer and give 100 Thieves more time to scale.
I also think it was important for Team Liquid to then get the shutdown kills afterwards to stop Closer from having an obvious point to drop this Herald. You think that he would want to use it bot with the pushing, but now...
Well, just forcing the flash, going for it there again as Hans lets the ulti rip forward, tried to find the angle. Does at least get a summoner trade for it.
This is exactly what I was going to say. You can see how far down in pressure the 100 Thieves bot lane is now. We're just 2v2. They're losing their flashes at 6 because CoreJJ just throws his ultimate at someone. So this makes it very difficult. This Herald is burning a hole in Closer's pocket. He's got to drop it soon somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of times when Herald is late like this and no pressure is in any lane, you just drop it mid. Hope he doesn't let it expire. It's going to start giving him that tick-tock very quickly.
Anywhere.
Just thinking the same thing. Abbedagge going over. Ooh, yep, top lane it is. I guess the wave's in a decent spot for it, so Closer, quick thinking, does manage to get it going towards that part of the map. It's going to be a while, though. A little detour there for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and you can see 100 Thieves actually trying to avoid that bot lane a little bit, so all the gold is on Hansama. Seraphine and Senna roaming up towards this top lane, so if there is a fight around this Herald, they're hoping to bring additional numbers. Abbedagge always has the option of teleporting in if he so chooses.
Hans obviously not the same luxury, so Herald will crash, but Closer once more finds the Q on a CoreJJ. Again, Lee Sin, you need to make plays. On we go, but Closer now dashing out, maybe trying to bait CoreJJ in. Q lands again, but there's not enough damage. Leona pretty robust in these early stages.
Seraphine ult did not bounce through any of the front line despite how many there were, so it did not get the extension to lock somebody up. Allows Team Liquid to kite that one out. Still a 4v4. Sylas actually dropped down.
Huhi.
No flash.
Not a good spot to be in. It's a critical route to get, but he doesn't have flash. He's gonna be dead. Santorin claims him.
Second time this game, huhi has taken a very aggressive route on a very squishy champion and been punished for it.
Definitely struggling right now. Also worth noting that the cleanse is on Senna. That does not give very much ability to kite out from this long-range engage options for the Seraphine. I expect them to be the target for the rest of this game for Team Liquid. If you can kill the Seraphine straight out at the start of all these fights, because they have so many long-range ways of doing it, you don't actually need to run into the death ball, which is the big problem you have when you play against Seraphine comps. If they have Swain and Senna and these other things, is you have to get to her to kill her. That's not the case in this comp for Team Liquid. They don't actually need to get up close and personal with Seraphine to blow her up.
Yeah, you thought you died quickly before. Eclipse here, MF ulti is gonna rip through Seraphine. Even if huhi's like in the right place to ulti, if Hansama can just free fire with bullet time, gonna be a real tough time to try and live as the ulti out of core. Tries to get a stun onto the front side of 100 Thieves.
Actually, such a crucial fight right here. No Leona ultimate, though, might give Team Liquid a little bit of pause in terms of engaging, but also no waves pushed to 100 Thieves, so they are leaving themselves a little bit open for an engage. At the moment, Team Liquid is buying time for Bwipo to arrive, as Ssumday is here first.
Yeah, Ssumday is here. Bwipo showing up in just a second, trying to find a flank angle. Santorin and Bwipo doing their best to try and get behind the 100 Thieves squishy members. A lot of posturing right now as Bjerg grabs mid-control.
Still no flash on huhi, but no one in position to flank him. You can see how cautious 100 Thieves is, though. If they go up to this point, they leave themselves open to flank, so huhi trying to play back for sure.
Big Dragon as well, of course.
Oh, he's not too far.
Worth quite a lot there. huhi, as you mentioned, a little too far forward. Abba with the stolen Leona ulti core. Not going to have it. But 100 Thieves are trying to keep them away. They want to burn down this Dragon. But can they do it? Closer in the front side. Santorin's going to get a look. Caught it. Actually wants to go on the jungler. Dragon is loose. Does go to Closer, but the fight may go the way of Team Liquid. It's Ssumday in the front line doing a very nice job. But I don't think there's anything left in the fight. FBI trying to chase them down. Santorin onto the back line, onto Ssumday. Here we go. Abbedagge fought the flash away, and Bwipo now in the front side is Closer. It's gone absolutely wild in the back of the fight. And he almost killed Core. He flashes out to safety. Are you kidding me?
CoreJJ stopwatches from the grave. It looked like he had died at that point, but still manages to stay alive.
I'm also confused how Closer stayed alive there. Both teams had one member jump in 1v4, but Closer somehow, despite not finishing off Hansama, booted him out, almost got the kill, forced him out of the fight, drew all the attention so the rest of 100 Thieves could focus down Bwipo when he went in alone.
But look at this, because of the sustain of Seraphine Senna, they can go right to the Rift Herald. Closer here, amazing reaction time, ward hopping out of the combo. That saves this fight. It means he's still alive to be able to smite secure this Dragon from 391 to death. And everyone on 100 Thieves, it's just a kiting game. They can't get one shot. If the fight goes long enough, they begin to win.
Absolutely the case. huhi also landed his ultimate on both backline members, Bjerg and Hans, to lock up any sort of follow-up. And then here's where the fight gets really split. Bwipo runs in, Core, and you see Closer go in on Hansama. Almost can't kill him, but 1v3 here. I thought for sure Closer was going to insta-die. The Gore Drinker heal, though, keeps him up.
What is this?
And he's almost able to finish him off.
There's no health left on Core.
That's got to be single digit. I'm going back.
Everything else, too. The Seraphine Q, Evages out of it. Are you kidding me?
Lives on a pixel, but does live. As Team Liquid still up FDX gold advantage, about 1,500, but the two Dragons going the way for 100 Thieves. They are trying to stack for this solo. It will be Ocean for this game, but it's only going to get spicier. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. Team Liquid is applying so much pressure at the moment. It is a small miracle that 100 Thieves did not suffer a death in that fight. And then also, I'd say a medium-sized miracle that Core lived at the end of that fight. So a lot of stuff happening in this game to keep it so close.
Down to 10 HP. Didn't quite get single digits, but
not even close.
It was very close. Barely able to stay alive there. And I'm loving how this game's shaping up because we can expect a lot more of those team fights. The fact that 100 Thieves did get the Dragon, did get the Rift Herald after, means that while they're down gold, they're going to be able to get some of that back in their pockets. Both teams scale pretty well. The Seraphine, Senna, Deathball comp. Azir, obviously no joke in his own right. Viego scales extremely well as well. it means that we're going to get a lot of these dragon fights with 100 Thieves already having 2 of them.
Abbedagge might be getting dove here. That's a lot of people.
1v4, 1 TP. Ssumday has it, but
Seraphine has it.
You can't wait around. If you're going to dive, you got to go.
Abbedagge is like, wait, I saw 1. That's not a good sign. I must leave. Where do I go? Oh no, the enemy team! I found them. TP's coming in. Abbedagge's trying to leave. He's got the Azir ulti, but he's gonna get CC'd up for just long enough. But huhi, now with the charm onto core, only finds 1. Ssumday here as well. Team Liquid might just redive.
Yeah, 100 Thieves very late on that move, and the saving teleport being from a Seraphine. Not much of a savior at that point.
You can tell how much 100 Thieves underestimated the Team Liquid force there. They thought maybe it was 1 or 2 people wrapping behind. The fact that Abbedagge walked up to that brush to throw a control ward into it to check it, he was not ready for 3 members, and that made it feel like the communication was slow for 100 Thieves to decide, do we protect or do we not? The fact that they did not have both TPs instantly channeling means they were not aware of exactly how serious that play was.
And Sama getting very strong this game. He's the gold leader in the game so far, 7,400 gold, nearly transforming that man immune. And we heard him speak just before this game about the momentum of a playoff series. In their FlyQuest series, they lost game 1 and then got progressively stronger in games 2, 3, and 4. Even in this series, they lost games 1 and 2 fairly handily. Game 3 was closer. Game 4 was handily in TL's favor. And now Hans is the top performer in Game 5, trying to make that momentum count.
Kill list through game 1 and game 2 for Sama. The entirety of Team Liquid was shut out in game 1. Not a single kill. And here they are, scrapping so hard with 100 Thieves. 3 kills more to their name, 5-2. Managed to keep that turret up. Very important.
We got a dragon fight.
We certainly do. Gotta scrap soon. Rift Herald dropped there for a bit of space there, created by 100 Thieves. 30 seconds till the Ocean Dragon is up. 100 Thieves desperately want to get this soul as quickly as they can, but TL are gonna have to make him fight for it.
So TL's Baron take is actually pretty quick. If they ever tried to sneak it with Azir, that's something you have to keep in mind if you're 100 Thieves. But at the moment, it is definitely just mid-prio to move into the river first.
And this is where Team Liquid's comp might have a bit of an advantage, a little bit range on their side.
Good sustain. Closer again, poking him out as well. The Dragon's theirs, I believe. I think they've chunked Bwipo low enough. Stolen ulti there by Abbedagge, picked up the Solar Flare, and 100 Thieves, they're not going to get this alone. TL are going to fight them for it.
TL do not want to give up Soul Point, but they are in a difficult position. Bwipo tried to get Honey Fruit from the barren river, and now trying to sustain off the wave with Q. He's done a pretty good job. 85% health, and the Dragon is still contestable. 100
Thieves just trying to zone him out. Don't let him in, but I don't think Team Liquid are going to do anything other than barge straight through the front. Ssumday on a little bit of a flank. The Dragon is low. Are we going to try and go for a smite steal? What's the play for Team Liquid? Dragon's there. It's loose. It's getting it low, but there's the shield on the closer. Gonna go into stasis. huhi almost died out of the ulti from MF, but Santorin's low as well. That should be Dragon. Closer trying to make a big play. Finds Sama. Abbedagge's gonna get him. And 100 Thieves. They get what they want, but can they get out safely? FBI cleanse flash away. Abbedagge going absolutely off. Santorin dead. And Ssumday now behind his teammates. Bwipo, you cannot fight this.
2 for 1 for 100 Thieves on the tail end of that play. Also grabbed the Dragon. Did such a good job with vision control. 100 Thieves made sure there was no one on their flank, so it was a front-to-back team fight trying to get through the Lee Sin, the Seraphine shielding and healing.
Those are the crucial things for 100 Thieves in these fights. They cannot get flanked, and they need to make sure huhi doesn't get CC locked, because the MF ultimate nearly killed him on this one. Ssumday also had amazing position on the side here, making TL hesitant to go all the way through. But just look at how much damage Sama actually did in this fight as it begins. Core doesn't wait for it to get in smite range, and huhi here gets stunned by the Leona ultimate, just the tail end of the MF ultimate. Nothing else hits him, and he has to flash out. But then, when the initial burst doesn't finish them, the healing comes through, and Closer says, who on the other team has the most gold? Let me get that guy. And he kicks Sama in.
Was such a nasty kick, riding that in, finding his new target as he went. It was not an insta-give of Sama, but it still served him up for Abbedagge to get that second kill of the fight to make sure it was decisively in their favor. Getting both them right there.
Closer in a critical game, making a big play on Lee Sin. What is new? You can see why they went to it here in this game. Closer wants the comfort. You said it, Mark. You must be high impact when you play Lee Sin because that champion is not done any favors by stats or builds.
And Closer is just one of these guys who seems to have that clutch factor. There's no moment that feels too big for him. He's someone who wants the ball in his hands. We've heard him say on comms to his team before, shut up and let me find the kick, when they were in a critical base defense last year. And he knows, on this champion, I can win us the game if I find the right angle.
And in draft, Wukong ban, Xin ban, Jarvan ban, trying to take him off of anything that would have high impact. They did not ban the Lee Sin. He hasn't had an amazing game yet. That was a huge kick, and he's trying to bounce back from that 10-death Vi game he had in Game 4. But with 2 minutes, 45 seconds until that Soul, 100 Thieves are looking to close.
And the gold is even. Soul point for 100 Thieves, 23 minutes through. We talk about Game 5s, how close they can be, how tense they can be. We are about to hit maximum tension in this game.
I'm very tense. I will say the thing that should be scaring Team Liquid fans right now is they have not gotten a single neutral objective this game. Both Heralds, all 3 Dragons thus far. So they need to find something to go a little differently their way in these fights. Maybe a better flank, maybe actually getting a huhi killed right at the beginning of them, a pick off in a side lane like they were just attempting there before one of these. Because if the status quo keeps up, 100 Thieves will have Ocean Soul in 2 minutes.
And my eyes are on this guy. If he can find the engages, it's exactly what Team Liquid needs. Also, we said how their Baron take is quite strong with the Azir. They're trying to be very quiet right now and not have 100 Thieves check, but Closer is too smart for that.
The crowd mysteriously went very quiet.
Yeah, they're like, let's not cheer about this Baron.
Definitely was sniffed out well before that by 100 Thieves. You could see them face-checking brushes with the Qs on Lee Sin, making sure that they couldn't do it. And it's a nice angle seeing that Team Liquid has it in mind, and you know that puts pressure on 100 Thieves to respect it.
You always want to respect the attempt, but it does cost them. They've been holding that mid turret very well for 24 minutes, and they lose it here. They've already been losing the mid lane fights around the next dragon. When the wave gets pushed into here by default, it's going to be so much harder for them to contest Soul now. So I think a fairly costly attempt there by TL.
Double control wards in the river, belonging to 100 Thieves. Have time for a reset before this Dragon Soul spawns. Just over a minute, until the game could very well break in one single team fight.
Yeah, even though 100 Thieves has been dominant in terms of securing the objectives, the gold is close. Team Liquid have a lot of items, and if they just win one team fight, that's Soul denied and likely Baron afterwards. So a 5,000 gold swing not unlikely to happen from this Soul fight.
Ssumday eating some damage. huhi trying to find the poke, but he's got to be careful. MF can poke back. Abbedagge once again steals the Solar Flare from CoreJJ.
You can see how important teams know this Dragon setup is. Team Liquid super early. They're fighting for vision control 45 seconds ahead of time. Does give the mid control, though, over to 100 Thieves.
They just can't get the waves in, though. The bottom lane is pushed. They have no way of threatening a flank onto the Seraphine, which is crucial for 100 Thieves. If huhi is safe, they're generally winning these fights.
I respect the decision, though, by Team Liquid saying, at the end of the day, we're not going to win because mid got pushed. We're going to win because we were at the Dragon first and make 100 Thieves walk into us for a change.
I've got the vision. I've got the speed shrine. Control word shot down, though, by FBI, but Closer getting a little bit low again. Heart's armor really hurts.
The heart rate is up right now, for sure. My heart rate is up. I can't imagine what's happening for Team Liquid and 100 Thieves. This very well could decide the series.
Who's going on to the championship weekend? Who's going on to be our first team to Worlds? Could all be decided here around the Dragon Soul. Remember, it is only Soul for one team. Team Liquid have to fight.
Man, what a standoff. Like, whoever engages has generally lost this fight because you go too deep into the other team. If you engage from 100 Thieves, Bjergsen shoots you back. You can't walk through the MF ultimate. If TL engage, they don't get on the Seraphine ult. So they're just standing and staring at each other. Menacingly.
Look at Ssumday is hiding in the pit, by the way. He's going to get spotted by the Comet. Does get out. But now Abbedagge maybe looking. Gets the Soul Flare. Probably was running out. Doesn't have a chance to hijack again for a little bit. But Ssumday again is just pincering them up, but can Team Liquid rush the other four? CoreJJ eats a straight W out of Senna.
100 Thieves have got control of the Dragon now, though.
Oh, Closer's done it again! Hansama kicked into the back of the team! Abbedagge on a killing spree as 100 Thieves. Closer again has found the angle.
How does he do it? Every single time, Closer Lee Sin comes up even secured the soul. They ping down mid. They're trying to end right now.
20 seconds for most of the members of Team Liquid. A little ambitious. I think they realize they're got ahead of themselves there, going for the end. Right now, Closer peeling back, grabbing that soul point. Like you said, the rest of the team actually heading over the Baron. They're trying to get both neutral objectives off the rip while Team Liquid respawn. And again, Jatt, just like you said, this Q by
onto
Closer.
Core. He gets the Q onto Core, waits it out till the end. Flash kick. Dead. Hansama can't even set up.
Flash the wall, but Hansama not as quick of a response, ends up getting kicked into the team. And then from there, the battle lines of Team Liquid have totally broken. That was easy.
To just be in a 5v5.
There we go!
To just be in a 5v5, everyone knows you want to kick him. You're not flanking, there's no surprises, and he's just faster. He just pulls it off faster than Hansama can react, and he probably makes the series-winning play.
Dragon Soul. This House of the Dragon, presented by HBO, just flash on our screen ever so briefly, but we can't dwell on that because there is a lot more left in this game. 100 Thieves have a gold lead. It is not a massive gold lead, but again, that is not reflected in the 4 dragons currently sitting under their name.
And I think they actually made a fairly crucial mistake off of the adrenaline of that fight, because when they get a quadra kill with 0 deaths, they should be able to get Soul and Baron. But they wasted time killing a mid-turret, and now they don't have Baron. So if they make a mistake around this objective, if it gets stolen, that could be handing the series back.
I think Closer wanted another highlight play.
He found it.
Another kick.
He said, you know what? We can't take Baron. I won't get another awesome team fight kick. Let's have to do another Baron dance.
Well, here the dance does begin. huhi gonna eat a little bit of aggro early on, but Closer taking over this jungle. FBI coming in with the Umbral Glaive. Gonna start kicking down some of this vision. Core and Santorin trying to defend. Team Liquid know they cannot give up as much ground. I mean, they might not have a choice, but if they can keep vision, they want to, because they'll need to get to this Baron. They know exactly where 100 Thieves are going next.
And this advantage that they got in that last fight is translating now to pretty significant leads in itemization. The fact that Abbedagge is fully done with 3 items, boots completed. Obviously, there's a number of component advantages that they have as well for Closer and Ssumday. They're just stronger now in the stat fight, and so it does become imperative that Team Liquid be the ones to pull the trigger and try and insta-kill someone.
Baron going down fast. The one thing Ocean Soul doesn't give you, though, is burst resilience. If Team Liquid can land a perfectly on ult and MF ultimate, it's still turnable. And I don't know if they're going to flip this. Team Liquid looks like they might be out of wards, though, so they can't tell.
100 Thieves are waiting. They're actually leaving it there. They think that they're
Closer.
coming. Steals the Baron! But there's the ulti out of Seraphine. 100 Thieves still going. They get the kill. Here's Ssumday with the flank. And the ulti out of his ear is not enough. Ssumday rising to the occasion. And 100 Thieves say, have the Baron. We want the Nexus.
It's gonna be close, actually. 40 seconds left. They're trying to clean up. They did not get the Baron, so these minions are clearable, possibly. I'm trying to figure out if Viego and Renekton can stop it. Here comes the wave.
5 members alive for 100 Thieves. They chunked Closer out, forced him away. Did not get the smite for the Baron, it looked like, but at the same time, that meant there was no teamfight ultimates left, and now 10 seconds on Hans. CoreJJ coming up now. It's going to be a 3v5.
Hans up in 7. These minions don't last long.
It's dangerous for 100 Thieves. They can see it. They want to try and take it. Ssumday on the Bwipo. GA popped. Tower 1 is dead. 100 Thieves, I think they know they have to exit, but can they get out safely? Hansama is there. He's gone into stasis. Abbedagge is legendary. He's diving on in. And 100 Thieves, they found the way. The next name etched in stone in the greatest modern rivalry of the LCS is going to be our championship contending, our world qualifying 100 Thieves!
Closer with an absolutely incredible Game 5 performance to bounce back from a double-digit death game in Game 4 to have multiple game-defining kicks onto Hansama. Team fight after team fight after team fight. Hands 100 Thieves the win in a very tense Game 5 to deny the reverse sweep from Team Liquid.
He's such an unbelievably clutch player. Nobody is playing Lee Sin at the moment, and he completely turned this very even game into a 100 Thieves victory. They had no momentum going into this game. They had lost 2 in a row. Everything was lined up for Team Liquid to take the series. 100 Thieves pull it out in the end.
Bow to King Closer once again makes it happen on the Lee Sin. 100 Thieves. Congratulations, you're our first team to qualify from the LCS to the World Championships. It'll be in our backyard. You'll also be guaranteed to be in Chicago as well. So hey, you want them tickets? Want to see 100 Thieves? Get them now.
Really crushing defeat for Team Liquid as well, knowing they now have to make their way through the losers bracket. 2 more best of 5s until they can even qualify for Worlds. So their road got much more difficult after this one.
Yeah, such a crazy series, how little momentum Team Liquid had at the beginning. Like we said, game 1, a shutout with no kills in their favor to then claw back in games 3 and 4, using some very interesting pocket picks to get it done, but just felt like didn't have that last trick in the book. The MF was, I think, the attempt at it, but it was just too good of an understanding by 100 Thieves of how to shut that down. There were no game-changing ultimates by Hansama later in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, this was a spectacular series. Team Liquid gets completely shut out in game 1. In game 3, Bjergsen pulls out Zillion, does amazingly. Game 4, we got to see Bwipo's set go 9-0. In game 5, Seraphine first pick answered by Miss Fortune, which actually pops off in the early game. Hansama got so strong, but just didn't have that reaction time for the closer Lee Sin kicks again and again. And I think he got him again at the end. I think he did it 3 times this game.
So before you go, Mark, I love hearing you two talk, which is great news because I have to go. We actually don't have another interview, so I gotta go interview.
Okay, bye. Get in there.
We will continue to wax poetic about closers Lee Sin then, because you're right, there was one more at the end. He landed the Q onto Hansama, baited the stopwatch, then went in for the flash kick on him for like the 3rd or 4th time in a row. Absolutely incredible player.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot in between the games this series about 100 Thieves and whether or not this clutch mantra they have is real, right? Like, can they just turn it on? Does Closer actually elevate during playoffs? He does. He actually does play better in the big moments. And I want to say Abbedagge was the one who picked up that quadra kill, right?
Yes.
He didn't get the All-Pro 1st, 2nd, or 3rd team, right? But he's the one in the winner's bracket final. And that's going to be very vindicating for him, and maybe they can keep that momentum and motivation to move through further.
Yeah, I think moving through further is a big part of it too, because they had a crazy series versus Team Liquid in Spring Split, and then EG went into Houston and kind of robbed that narrative from Team Liquid and 100 Thieves. So I think we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. There's another crazy series coming up. We've had 4 out of 5 of the best of 5s in playoffs go to 5 games. It's incredible playoffs so far, but I'm excited to see who is going to bump into 100 Thieves now.
Another chapter complete in the 100 Thieves Team Liquid rivalry. Just to recap again, last summer split, it was actually Team Liquid that knocked 100 Thieves down into the losers bracket. 100 Thieves then comes all the way back, sweeps TL in the final. Last split, another reverse sweep by 100 Thieves over Team Liquid. This game, you're thinking, are they going to match them with reverse sweeps? But 100 Thieves wins their 3rd best of 5 in a row against Team Liquid. They're definitely taking that personal. Every time people talk about him, you hear Closer talking trash in interviews about how the fact that they always beat them and then Team Liquid doesn't care about them. He showed them once again why they need to take notice.
There's definitely a little bit of chip on the shoulder that 100 Thieves seems to love. And for Team Liquid, you have to wonder if there's starting to be some people living rent-free in their heads. Santorin versus Closer has been a historic matchup and seems to always go in Closer's favor now.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Closer and Abbedagge with Pastrytime for our Verizon post-game interview. So let's hear from them now.
Abbedagge again.
Thank you very much. Lovely job, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am here with the victorious Closer and Abbedagge. I have not relinquished my water bottle because I desperately need it after that banger 5-game series. What on earth is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. We are going to Worlds.
You're going to Worlds. Congratulations.
We're going to Worlds.
Nice. I mean, I think game 1 and 2 was pretty easy, as you guys can see, but I don't know, like they kinda changed something game 3 and 4, and I was like inting hard. Like I had like 10 deaths every game, and going into game 5, we wanted to try something, and like going into 4-5, I'm thinking in my mind like what jungler I'm gonna play, because I didn't play Lee Sin for like 3 months, and we needed an AD jungler, and then Reaper said, our coach said, game 5, Closer Lee Sin, and here we are.
What about you, Ava? How was that 5th game there? Your Sylas was absolutely sick in that game.
I mean, I felt like we just had a number of them. Once I saw we got Dragon and Herald, I was like, oh my god, they're so bad. So now we just won the game. We have a win condition, and we just play it out. I was very confident after we got the first 2 objectives.
And we've talked a lot, at least here at the LCS, about the rivalry between you two teams. The record is certainly trending in the direction of 100 Thieves still. What do you think about your opponents in Team Liquid?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. I think they're definitely good. Like, it's not that easy to come back from 2-0. Like, when the games are like that, I think we had a very clean 2 games. And then they came back pretty good. I think like they're supposed to be the super team, but like they're fine.
What about you? They're just fine, or how's it playing, Bjergsen?
I respect him, but I felt like the series he didn't do much. So, little diffy in the midi. So, I'm proud of how I played today.
Yeah, I mean,
Proud of you too, bro.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because something I've noticed watching, especially this series, but in general, there's lots of really good mid jungles in the LCS. But watching you two play today felt like there's just another level. And I know that you're not necessarily all getting the accolades or maybe the respect that you deserve. How do you two feel like you stand?
I just couldn't make it top 3. Like, there's some other mid laners that might have already lost in playoffs. That they had some spots in the top 3 All-Stars. I don't know where they are now, but I heard a little story about that.
What about you? You enjoying playing with Ava here? I feel like you two have just been really well connected in game.
Yeah, I think like we definitely worked on our synergy, and I think this series we were really comfortable. Like we were killing enemy mid a lot and controlling the game. So I'm happy how we are, but we can always improve.
Now, of course, with this win, you are not only through to Chicago, you'll be playing on Championship Weekend guaranteed. You are through to Worlds. Congratulations. You are the first team from the LCS to qualify. But as we always know with 100 Thieves, there is more work to be done. You have won a title within the last year. You made the finals and didn't win. Your next opponent is going to be the winner of EG or C9. How are you feeling moving forward, looking for that second title?
I think we stepped up a lot, and we're going to step it up even more. We are just really good right now, I feel like, and practice is going so well. So EG and C9, watch out.
Any kind words for your future opponents there, closer?
I obviously want to get our revenge against EG, but I don't want to predict my opponents because I feel like the last time when we did that in the finals, we were expecting all the time, okay, we're going to play Team Liquid, and then EG came in last second and we were not ready. So we're just going to focus on ourselves, and whoever comes, we will be ready.
Certainly seems to be working out. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the stage today.
Thank you.
We will have another interview coming up, but before we get there, let's go on back to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Pastrytime. We'll be back out onto the stage in just a moment to hear from another player on the side of Team Liquid. But as we wait for that interview to get set up, we're going to celebrate that 3-2 victory out of 100 Thieves.
Wow.
When it felt like maybe the momentum was going back the other way. When we talk about the reverse sweeps and how common they can be in League of Legends, it's 100 Thieves who's able to lock it down, and it's closers.
Oh my God!
What did I say? I told you.
There it is. The report card told
At the beginning of the day, he's gonna pick Lee Sin, he's gonna win with an insect, and they actually did.
I mean, man, honestly, I would have liked to have seen the foresight in this draft. Like, it's Game 5 clutch closer Lee Sin. We've seen it for years.
The closer.
We've seen it for years.
They were the ones that did.
It's in the name.
He got finals MVP for his Lee Sin play last year.
Actually, keeps getting it.
Honestly, holy shit, what an amazing game.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a fun game. Like,
right.
in
Quick
general.
shots dropping F-bombs on the
I've
LEC.
dropped
He
F-bombs,
could have that here. I mean, back to the Lee Sin point, though, I think it is very cool that they don't have to bring it out till the Game 5, right? And I think that's a part of where we talk about, yeah, I'd love to see the foresight, but up to that point, he hadn't had to bring it out. So it is very difficult, I think, as an opponent going into a 5th and final game to go, we have to predict this thing that might be the answer. You know, like, that's a hard thing to commit to.
It is, but just knowing how decorated he is on the champion and all the games he's carried, the MVPs he's got, like you mentioned, like, we even talked about it earlier, like, man, Closer's gonna pick some carry champ like Lee Sin and just completely turn the game. It happened, like, and it happens every single clutch series that they have. Like, I don't know, man, it's just something you gotta care for. Even if it's not in the meta, like he said, you know, you really have to care for it.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about watching 100 Thieves, I think, take away this win. Obviously, it's another win over TL a team that they feel like overlooked them a lot. But also throughout the split, everyone was like, oh, 100 Thieves are looking shaky again, which is like a very regular season thing for them. And the entire time they're like, no, actually, we're performing well. Like, we have faith in ourselves. I love that this series came down to so many of those pocket picks from both sides.
Yeah.
The drafting in this was super interesting because of what each side could bring out. And then for it to just end on the closer Lee Sin is like such a narrative bookend.
It really is. The script writers are happy.
It perfectly played out. We'll come back. We'll talk about it a bit more. We'll celebrate all 5 games as they played out. For now, we're back out to the stage with Pastrytime, who's standing by with Bwipo.
Thank you very much. I am here with the very gracious Bwipo. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's not easy after a very long series. Just fresh off, how you feeling, man?
Can I swear? No,
Sure.
I don't think so. It sucks. It really does. You know, I've lost a lot over the past few years, and at some point I really want to win. So it's just depressing to lose again.
Yeah. I will say, even though a bunch of people have left right now, the crowd was super behind Team Liquid today. Could you hear that every time you were coming out? What was that like?
I think it was really meaningful, to me at least. I really appreciate the crowd for supporting us. It's always nice to know that, you know, the people care about you even if you have a bad performance. Like, the worst part is when you feel like you played bad and everyone else around you is making it worse. And, you know, getting positive reinforcements in order to, you know, get back up and try again is really important. And that's something that we're going to need in order to, you know, get back into it, because it is double elimination. Our run's not over yet, and I think that if anything, it shows that we improved from last split. So, no, I'm happy with the things we showed in our victories. Obviously, the defeats could be better, but yeah, I don't think this is a moment. If we got 3-0, I think we would all be like, yeah, this is it. But I think we showed some real resilience as a team, and that it makes me happy. You know, like, we were in it until the very end, and we trusted each other. And I think that's what counts.
I think we've actually heard from you maybe very early on in the split. I can kind of hear it a little here. We talk all the time about the pressure that TL must feel. But you're actually on TL. Like, I have no insight into what your team's actually like.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Of course. I mean, expectations are always hard to meet, especially when a lot of people have a lot of them. You know, it's the more, the harder it gets. But for me personally, I try not to worry about it too much. You know, I've been someone that ever since I got hired on a big team, because as a rookie, I got hired, you know, to play for Fnatic. They were a big deal. The players I played instead of were some of the biggest, you know, the greatest of Europe back then. And I just told myself, you know what, I'm just going to show up and play my own game. And, you know, that's ultimately what I got hired for. And either that's going to show and I'm going to shine, or I'm going to, you know, run it down and try again. Like, that's just it. You know, the season's never over until you're factually out of it. So haven't missed Worlds. And that for me is like what keeps me going, because I've been in worse spots. You know, I've taken worse losses than this. Well, last split was one of those. But even over the course of my career, and it's just about getting back at it. You know, you can't give up until you're down and out for the count. And even then, you've got next year. So I don't know what to say. I just I hate looking at I hate looking at life in a way where it's like I lose here and that's it.
Yeah, losing sucks. You said it yourself.
It sucks, but
everyone knows. Every competitor definitely knows. I've talked to many of you on this stage.
Yeah.
But of course, kind of refocusing to the present. As you mentioned, double Elim, not out. That chance at Worlds, a chance at the title, of course, still there on for Team Liquid. Your next opponent will be CLG. Thoughts on your upcoming match?
I mean, if we don't beat them, then there's a real problem. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I'm biased towards scrim results, so I will always have a different opinion. But from what they've showed on stage, I don't think they're a fearless team, and I think you have to treat them with respect. But if you do, I do think we'll be able to take them out quite handily. I think similar to FlyQuest in terms of level. I think it's, you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over playing our best of 5 against CLG, let's put it that way. Very confident that we're going to take them out.
And you have a week, of course, kind of leading up into that. What's the, without spoiling things you obviously can't give away, what's the preparation like, especially in the wake of this loss for Team Liquid? What are you and the team, or maybe just you, kind of be thinking about in kind of the upcoming week?
I think analyzing the best of 5s they've played so far, because I do believe they've played 2 of them. 1, 2?
Yep, 2.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of footage to go through. Obviously, they have some footage on us, so it's a matter of, you know, judging what they've got prepared for us, and then obviously seeing what they have played. Also, we have some scrims, like a lot of scrim, because we were on, you know, the teams have to play each other to prepare. So you end up scrimming the teams you're not playing on the week, you end up playing them later. So there's a lot of data to go around, and I think that's in our favor because we're more flexible as players. So I think all things considered, everything, all stones in our favor. So I feel pretty confident about that best of 5.
Well, Bwipo, I'm sorry it had to be this venue that we interviewed you, but it's always a treat to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck moving forward.
Thank you all. Thank you.
And with that, we are going to be moving over to the State Farm Analyst Desk to close out the day.
Hey, welcome back to the desk. Watch this video.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Ready, go.
Boom. Finals, baby. Last year, MVP of the finals was Closer. This man will come out and win you the whole game. I also said on Lee Sin, he's going to insect them.
Nah, scrub the tape. Scrub the tape.
Half credit. Half credit.
Yeah,
But I did vote for Ssumday for Player of the Series.
You did.
Because Ssumday was a beast.
Okay, well, you spoiled it, but we'll get there. We'll get there in just a moment. Game 5 highlights.
one
Let's roll
vote.
through. Let's watch that Lee Sin live up to everything it was promised to be as Closer pulls the team over the finish line to book their ticket to Chicago and ultimately to Worlds.
The key here was the Miss Fortune because, yes, she was incredibly fed this game. The resources were put on her. The ulti was decent, but this kick, amazing.
Man, it honestly, I feel like this completely stopped TL's momentum and just honestly ended the game because I feel like up to this point, yeah, MF did have a lead. Yeah, they did give her the resources, but I honestly felt like they didn't push enough, that they had to with the comp, right? Like, I wanted to see them slow push more wave spot. I wanted to see them try to dive the Senna and the Seraphine when they had no sums. I wanted to see Azir use his moves from mid to bot. Like, these kind of things had to happen to make the difference this game for TL's bot lane to carry, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, and big credit, after all of these kicks, it is Abbedagge going in on the Sylas to finish the kill after Miss Fortune flashes out.
Huge stuff from him, too, getting the quadra there.
Yeah, I mean, look, Closer may be the playmaker finding those kicks, but Emily, I think the one thing that's always been true about this 100 Thieves roster is that they'll follow up, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is what we talk about when we talk about them being such a spectacular team-fighting team, is that they're always on the same page.
Yeah, and even here where, obviously Baron unfortunately doesn't go their way. The other big thing in these team fights, like obviously Closer is here making plays. Ssumday's team fighting through this entire series was so good. Like, this isn't even the half of it, honestly. Like, he was always looking for flanks. He was always frontlining when he needed to be. Something that we've previously been critical of 100 Thieves sometimes is they don't necessarily leverage Ssumday's split push pressure in these situations around objectives. But him joining in these team fights was just so phenomenal every single game.
And the trend is here, where 100 Thieves will pick a scaling draft around Senna, Seraphine, something to that nature. They will fall behind and recognize that Team Liquid will not be able to push a small lead into a bigger one.
I just have a teeny tiny point that I'm pretty sure the gold graph breaks in almost the exact same spot as every single Senna Seraphine game in the TL 100 Thieves saga.
I mean, I'm definitely a bit disappointed that TL gave Aatrox to Ssumday 4 of the 5 games they played. Especially after the performances he was having, I just think, I mean, from a player perspective, I know that it's not always on the coaches, for example. Like, this is a player decision as well, that you want a versus champion, and as a team, it's a team decision as well, right? Like, they know, like, of course it was brought up as an issue, and I am definitely curious as to why they let this happen and why they let him have this comfort and this champion, honestly, for 4 of the 5 games. I mean, he was insane on it.
If it's you, like if you're in there, do you tell your coach, yeah, just ban the Aatrox?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, to Bwipo's credit, I do think he improved and wasn't getting, like, just destroyed out of lane every game against the Aatrox. I think the Olaf game. But the champion was still so relevant in the game, and clearly Ssumday was just piloting it really well. I just don't, I can't understand how they just didn't want to take him off comfort. For me as a player, I definitely value who I'm playing against more to, like, take players off comfort because I think it's really important.
I mean, everyone back here is voting for Ssumday on the Aatrox as player of the series. To your point, Revenge, I have to imagine that those on the side of Team Liquid are recognizing his impact as well, and that's where you would call into question that they did not, get rid of it.
Right, and it could be for a lot of reasons, right? Maybe the way the draft went, it was just, oh, yeah, look at that player of the series. Congratulations to Ssumday, but it's actually like a lot of reasons, right? Maybe they felt like they needed to prioritize other champions to ban, right? And that's because of maybe certain player limitations or certain player preferences. But yeah, I mean, draft is a tricky thing, right? But I don't know.
And for me, the trickier thing is just when you come into the day and you have to come to the realization that you just played worse. Because Ssumday, even on his Ornn game, in the loss that they had, even in the Aatrox games, like in his losses, he played phenomenally. And in their losses, 100 Thieves actually out-team fought really well in circumstances where I was like, okay, I'm surprised it went to 5, right? Especially with how 100 Thieves took the first 2 games in pretty dominating fashion. And yes, Team Liquid rallied, but this is 100 Thieves that feel so riled up as they really rallied from regular season to now, where their team fighting is top-notch. And I'm excited because let's see what happens in the next series tomorrow, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But if Evil Geniuses go up against the 100 Thieves again, and we've heard from the 100 Thieves players around their team fighting, they say, yes, if you want to be able to beat, Closer said this, Evil Geniuses, you just have to be the better team fighting team. And it seems like they're aspiring to that.
I'm just so glad Ssumday is getting the credit that he deserves.
Yes.
This man has had an MVP-esque level splits and even whole year for 100 Thieves. He has been such a massive, massive force for them. And like you're saying, even in the losses, and he does so many things that are not on camera, you know, controlling these minion waves in matchups that are difficult, when enemy jungle pressure is difficult. And then he always brings it to the team fight.
And the thing is, we didn't really see Ssumday's full potential from this series. I mean, we saw him on one champion for 4 of the games. Like, yes, it is. To his credit, it's one of his best champions, but I'm excited to see what he'll bring out, for example, against potentially Evil Geniuses or potentially Cloud9, who will study this series and probably not give Aatrox this many games, and he's going to have to, you know, pull different things out.
Speaking of Evil Genius, right, he's the only person who shattered the perfect all-pro team for ET by taking that #1 spot as a top laner.
I will say, though, I do think that Impact facing off against Ssumday is always a really, really interesting lane because I think the last time they played, I'm pretty sure Impact bested him in the Gnar versus GP matchup, and it was a really, really big gap. Truthfully.
Exactly, there was that. The players also, in unison, for the most part, voted Impact in All-Pro when it came to that voting. In an interview, I think it was an InVen Global interview, Impact also said that, hey, you know, people don't see scrims, and I have been playing better than Ssumday, just generally speaking. So that's just paraphrasing. So yes, this is going to be an amazing series. If it comes through, they have to be able to take down C9.
And the legend of playoff impact is still to be foretold here in this postseason, because that will be the series we have tomorrow. Our first look at Evil Geniuses as they go up against the 5 seed in Cloud9, our 4th and final day of postseason play when it comes to this week. Before we get to 4 more days of play next week, we already know that TL will drop down to face CLG. I'm curious, Revenge, where you're at on that one.
I mean, I'm just looking at this and look at how many 5-game series we've had so far.
A lot of them.
I mean, the TL Fly one as well was 3-1. Like, it has not been a single 3-0 this entire playoffs. That is insane. I don't think that that's happened in a long time.
Yes.
And I think that the league has gotten just pretty generally close, and the top teams are competing a lot. So I'm actually really curious how the EG-C9 series is going to go tomorrow, because like teams have just been improving in playoffs, and maybe the gap between EG and some of those teams is closed, or maybe EG just got a lot better. Like,
I mean, this has been the week. I know last week, of course, the 5-game series between CLG and C9 was something. This week, we've just only had 5-game series.
Who's ready for 5 more tomorrow?
I'm ready
for 20. 20 for 20.
There we go.
Let's go.
There for that? I'm down for that.
What do you think on that? I mean, EG-C9, right? Like you said, we haven't seen EG for 2 weeks. Cloud9, while they scraped through that CLG series, I think there's still a ton of questions around how well they actually fit together.
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty bold and say that it's probably going to be a 3-0 for EG tomorrow, or a 3-1. I don't think it'll be close. I honestly think EG's team fighting is just as good, if not probably better than 100 Thieves, and I think that C9's is not even close, based on what we saw against CLG. And I think that AD is really, like, ADC is very important right now, especially out of lane, and Danny is just on another level in team fighting. He's,
No Berserker credit?
I mean, Berserker is good. I mean, like, I voted him for Rookie of the Year. I thought he played insane this year, but he's not Danny. Like, I don't think anyone's on the level of him in team fighting this whole year, honestly. So
very cool.
I'm excited to see how they'll match up.
I love that you said it, because I think a lot of people are believing it. But let me just say, if you're wrong, the C9 social team.
They're
going to town.
I mean, I'm just saying, I want the better team to win, right? I want the better team to go to Worlds. I think that 100 Thieves today definitely was the better team, and I'm glad that they're representing NA at Worlds. And I would be extremely surprised if EG doesn't prove that they're the better team.
It is more than fair to pit EG as the massive favorite that they are in tomorrow's best 5. Well, we've had 15 out of 15 games so far. I think it's time for everyone, both us here and you at home, to go get some rest so you can get ready for another 5-game series tomorrow. That's going to do it from us here. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching. Thank you to Revenge for joining us, for doing everything from the telestrator to the waiting room, up there and casting and interviewing as well. True. Man's unstoppable. Thank you again. We'll catch you tomorrow for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to each other. Good night.
Just winging this up.
Oh! That was like actually looked your most on target.
Close. Yeah, I wasn't even targeting.
Absolutely.
Hello and welcome everyone to the LCS, where the greatest modern rivalry we have right now is upon us. 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid.
Best show in the world.
It's squeezing my body.
Squeezing your butt cheeks, bro.
Yeah.
Systematically taking down 3 inhibitors and less.
FBI very, very angry, goes berserk on his teammates. Closer in trouble, but not dead just yet. And FBI should be able to take over the game. Santorin and the rest of the squad are getting shredded.
Penta, guys, okay?
Chill. It's Zeri gaming.
Okay, guys, chill.
I never get Penta.
In we go, but Abbedagge gets shut down by Santorin, and Bwipo is running on in. The cleanse over from Hans. Bjergsen up with a trigger. 100 Thieves looking there, but Ssumday going in, and Santorin is going to go down. Ssumday going absolutely off on Aatrox. A little risky because huhi's ulti just whipped, and here comes Yuumi in the front line. Santorin again with the goal kicker. He's just going off. Aatrox will not be killed. Closer.
Let's go, guys.
Let's go.
We're all warmed up now.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah.
Oh, I had fun last game until I didn't. We win.
Just kill us.
Kill Lucian. I need to go to Aatrox together. Okay,
Only 3 seconds. Only 3 seconds.
I'm holding Lucian.
Oh, I
got him all. Nice, guys.
Oh, FBI, you just got hooked on him again. Ulted FBI, what are you doing? In the front line, you're now going to get away, but Santorin can maybe chase you. There he goes. The blast goes not enough, and FBI is going to get shredded.
Another Game 5 in the 100 Thieves Team Liquid rivalry.
Yeah, let's put it this way. It's a best of 1 now, guys. Let's take them completely out of the mental game by just killing their nexus.
What's the play for Team Liquid? Dragon's there. It's loose. It's going to get low, but there's the shield on the closer. Going to go into stasis. huhi almost died out of the ulti from MF, but Santorin's low as well. That should be Dragon. Closer trying to make a big play. Finds Hans Sama. Abbedagge is going to get him.
Finish it now.
Look, MF. MF, that flash.
Yes.
MF that. Look as if.
I've done me in 2.
Nice. 1v9.
Kill. With your hand.
Go! That's right! Okay? Nice, guys.
Hans Sama is going into stasis. Abbedagge is legendary. He's diving on in. And 100 Thieves, they found the way. The next name etched in stone in the greatest modern rivalry of the LCS is going to be our championship contending, our world qualifying 100 Thieves.